We're going to call to order the public safety meeting. This is Wednesday, January the 25th, and it is about 10:04 in the morning, actually. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Bosley. Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Alderwoman Rice.
Present.
Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderman Page.
Present.
Alderwoman Keys. Alderman Vaquero.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Ingracia. I do see Alderwoman Davis coming in.
Okay, we'll have a quorum with her.
Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Bosley. Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Keys.
Here.
And I have you, Alderwoman Davis, is present. We have 8 present. We have a quorum.
Okay, having a quorum, then we will go ahead. Let's see, wait a minute. Well, we have no minutes from yesterday, so we're going to go ahead. We have resolution 166 in front of us. Madam Clerk, would you read the resolution preamble?
Sure.
Is that okay?
That's fine. Resolution number 166, introduced by Alderman Jesse Todd. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Louis that Board of Aldermen supports designating the City of St. Louis as a sanctuary city, and to require that the City of St. Louis Division of Police not cooperate with the FBI or federal agencies to attack Black community organizers and members for charges stemming from work for the betterment and uplifting of their community, and to make the City of St. Louis a refuge for African people struggling for social justice in solidarity with sanctuary programs for Native peoples, immigrants, and others seeking a safe haven, and to uplift their communities.
Okay, Alderman Todd, you want to go ahead and
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Public Safety Committee. Thank you, members who will be speaking, and also thank you listeners who will be listening. The purpose of the Dred Scott resolution is to make the City of St. Louis a sanctuary city in which the St. Louis Police Department and city government will refuse to cooperate with the FBI and any other federal agency to attack Black community organizers and members for charges stemming from work for the betterment and uplifting of their community. So that's the purpose. I will paraphrase the United States Constitution, which gives us that right, but I will not use the exact words of the Constitution. These rights are constitutionally protected rights, so that all people can organize and better their communities. No one is above the Constitution or the law. For example, Article 6, all county, state, federally elected officials and law enforcement officers took an oath to support the Constitution. The First Amendment to the Constitution says, 1, citizens have a right to gather peaceably together. 2, citizens have a right to petition the government about problems. The 13th Amendment does not allow forcibly of holding of one person by another person is forbidden unless convicted of in court. 2, all persons born in the United States are citizens. That's the 13th Amendment. 14th Amendment. all people born in the U.S. again are members. No county, state shall enforce a law which takes away the rights of its citizens. 14th Amendment continues. The 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection of the law for all citizens of the United States of America. Okay, so that's the summary of the Dred Scott bill. That's the main point of the Dred Scott bill. I want to ask the chairman, may the two speakers that I'm requesting speak first, Alikia and Penny Hess. Is that possible? They are speakers. So that's my summary of the bill. And Mr. Chairman, I'll yield it back to you.
Well, I'll go ahead and let you start with your two speakers, but what we'll do, Madam Clerk, would you swear everybody in at one time and get everybody, well, I can even do it. If everyone would raise their hand, right, left, it don't matter, raise your hand. I would need to see that, actually. Do you swear the testimony you're going to give is the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, and yes, that's cool. And everybody seems to be, there's nobody gonna lie. We're pretty sure of that. So we're good. So as far as I'm concerned, everyone is sworn in.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
usually when we have a number of speakers, we kind of limit their time. Are you going to ask
yeah, we're gonna do our best to try to keep everybody to the 3-minute time limit.
Okay,
15 speakers, this thing will go for an hour or better.
okay.
5 minutes in speakers plus.
I'm not interrupted. I just wanted to give you a friendly reminder. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. Alderman Todd, you had a couple speakers that you
And I would like to introduce Alikia and first to speak, and Penny Hess, I would like to ask that she speak second, and you can choose the order of the other speakers.
Well, I mean, so those two
I'm going to introduce and give the main point of the Dred Scott resolution. And then the other speakers will speak and give.
so those two won't be held to the 3 minutes.
Okay, then thank you,
If
Mr.
they're
Chairman.
part of your, your expert
Introduction.
testimony or whatever, they would not be held to that. Everyone else will hold to the 3 minutes. Then they're just, so anyway, go ahead. Why don't you introduce as you want. Right now, you'll be doing, in a sense, the meeting. So you present your speakers, okay?
Okay, Alikia, will you please speak first?
Yes, this is Ikinge. Thank you so much. And you will see me as Tammy Harris. I think it says resident. I believe that it says RES 166. I see I've been connected. And my name is Ikinge Maele. And I want to thank Alderman Jesse Todd and the Public Safety Committee for hearing this proposal for the city of St. Louis to adopt a sanctuary city of refuge resolution, calling for St. Louis to adhere to a policy of non-cooperation with the FBI and other federal authorities in relation to charges and raids that stem from an organization's work uplifting their community. We want to see this city be a safe haven for Black people and other organizers who want to work developing programs that benefit their community without the threat of harm to them, their families, or the programs they're building. We're raising this because on Friday, July 29th, 2022 at 5 a.m., the home of African People's Socialist Party Chairman Omali Ishitella, who is 81 years old, and his wife, Ona Zane Ishitella, were attacked by scores of assault weapon-toting FBI agents and local police officers who arrived in armored vehicles. They broke windows and doors, threw flash bomb grenades and drones into the house, cuffed them, did not show them the warrant, and held them for hours while they were not under arrest. This happened on Redbud Avenue in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods in the city. 4 other movement members' homes at 2 other locations were also attacked at the same time in the city, as well as the Uhuru Solidarity Center, which is located at 2654 Gravois Avenue, where members of our Uhuru Solidarity Movement organized in the white community under the banner of Unity Through Reparations. The program is being built by the Uhuru Movement in North St. Louis under the title of the Black Power Blueprint, include a renovated condemned building that is now an active community center and an office building, a farmer's market, which is starting its third year in 2023. It also has a community garden with a beautiful outdoor event space, as well as a community basketball court. There's a doula training program for Black women on the North Side community, a housing workforce development program for our brothers and sisters that are coming out of the prisons, and much, much more. Chairman Amalia Shatella has spent over 60 years working for the upliftment of Black people, having led many critical campaigns, including the struggle to free Jessie Woods, a Black woman who was sentenced to 22 years in prison for killing a white man who tried to rape her, and the International Tribunal on Reparations to African People, held in 1984, and so much more. Again, I want to thank the Public Safety Committee and Alderman Jesse Todd again for hearing this proposal. Thank you.
All right, okay, thank you. Next speaker is Penny Hess. Will you please speak?
Yes, I really want to thank Alderman Jesse Todd and everybody who is here today. And I want to say, first of all, that I hope everyone has read the actual resolution. I'm assuming that that did come before people. If we have the opportunity to read it, I would be glad to do that. And I am the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, an organization of white people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. Our work is, our assignment is to organize in the white community. We operate out of a building owned by the Uhuru Movement at 2654 Gravois, which was, as was said, also raided very brutally on July 29th of 2022. Our work is organizing for reparations to African people, to the Black community of St. Louis and the world in every way. And this is something that we do every day. We're out there in our neighborhoods, around where we are, and we are organizing, talking to people, going door to door, dropping flyers, and we have just a huge outpouring of support and unity with the work of the Uhuru Movement on the North Side, in North St. Louis, building actual programs for economic development and political power in the hands of the community. And I just really want to express, first of all, my outrage that Chairman Amalia Shatella, Deputy Chair Onizine Shatella of the Uhuru Movement, and this Solidarity Center and those of us in the Solidarity Committee were raided, along with a coordinated plan that also took place in St. Petersburg, Florida. But that this raid was a pre-dawn raid. It was very brutal, as was said, and the city was complicit with it. The city offered police to come with this completely unjustified and just very, very violent raid, with assault weapons being leveled at the chest of Chairman Amalia Shatella and all of us publicly for hours. And that the city played a role in this. That is just absolutely outrageous. I just want to say that. And that the FBI stated that their raids on July 29th were justified by a bogus, ridiculous indictment of a Russian national. To just say no one was arrested in these raids, even though people were held illegally for many hours. They said that this is to do with an indictment of a Russian national in Russia, making the very racist claims that the African People's Socialist Party was under some kind of, quote, malign influence of the Russian government, when it ran campaigns for local elections on a platform beneficial to reparations to the Black community, and launched a petition exposing the US government's treatment of Black people as qualifying as genocide under international law, which indeed it does. Chairman Omali Shatella and members of the party and the Uhuru movement have organized around all these questions for over 60 years, and now he is facing indictment on these racist and very bogus charges. So I am here deeply in support of this Dred Scott Sanctuary City resolution. I am one of the 4, quote, unindicted co-conspirators, something absolutely outrageous. My home was raided at gunpoint on July 29th on the south side in actually Alderman Dan Gunther's ward. And I work every day at the Uhuru Solidarity Center on Gravois Avenue, which was under siege, very publicly and visibly for 6 or 7 hours. I believe that this city, infamous throughout the US for the police murder of Michael Brown in a suburb just a few miles away, Ferguson, infamous for corruption, infamous for its attacks on the Black community, from destroying Mill Creek Valley neighborhood to the Teen 4 plan, to dropping toxic chemicals from the Pruitt-Igoe public housing homes, infamous for the Del Mar Divide, known all around the world, that which shows the very stark difference in the economic and political conditions faced by the North Side African community and the South Side white community. I believe that we must give safe haven to members of the African community and anyone who is working for the betterment of their community. The city should not be complicit in these kind of attacks on people who are doing things that this city actually has never done for the community. The work done by Chairman Omali Shatella and Deputy Chair Onizane Shatella in North St. Louis has been actually heralded and contributed to by thousands of people from all over the US and from other countries. And in fact, people come here and they are given tours of these projects. They are so excited about it. They're just usually, just an outpouring of support comes from them, as well as financial support that is very clear and transparent on the website blackpowerblueprint.org. As a member of the African People Solidarity Committee, I want to say that we do outreach. As I said, we have experienced overwhelming support from thousands of white people in all these neighborhoods: Fox Park, Benton Park West, Tower Grove East and South, and that, just there's so many people who want to see reparations to the Black community and support the Black Power Blueprint programs. I fight for the right of Chairman Omali Shatella to organize for the liberation of African people and the Uhuru movement. And I also fight for my right to organize for reparations to the African community without expecting harm, intimidation, and armed attacks on the work that we are doing. So I am calling on the city to adopt this sanctuary city resolution, and let's go ahead and rectify all of the contradictions, and even the fact that Dred Scott and Harriet Scott sought sanctuary here and refused that and told that they had no rights that any white person had to respect. So I'd like to see us adopt that in this city. I think it would be profound and very outstanding, and create an atmosphere in which, just the working for the betterment of the community and unity between North and South St. Louis would just thrive and flower and flourish. Thank you.
Penny, did you say you would be willing to read the resolution?
Yes, I would.
Would you read it, please? Do you have it?
Yes, I just need to open it up here. So the resolution states, the Dred Scott City of Refuge resolution for the city of St. Louis, Missouri. Whereas Dred and Harriet Scott sought and were denied refuge from enslavement in the city of St. Louis in 1846 and were told that they had no rights any white man had to respect. Whereas the city of St. Louis and its police department worked together with the FBI to conduct unjust, violent, military-style raids on homes and offices of the African People's Socialist Party and Uhuru movement on July 29th, 2022. Whereas the raids militarily occupied the most impoverished neighborhood of St. Louis, threatening the Uhuru movement programs, fighting gentrification, and building economic and political power in the Black working class communities. Whereas the African People's Socialist Party was targeted because it has relentlessly fought for the liberation of Africa and African people for the last 50 years. Whereas the FBI raids on the Uhuru movement posed a threat to the African community's hard-won democratic right to participate in elections in their own interests. Whereas African people have a right to petition the United Nations to investigate the Genocide Convention as it applies to the conditions of African people in the US and the quote, original sin of slavery and colonialism in this country. Whereas African people have the right to freedom of speech, freedom of association and assembly, including public statements of dissent regarding the official position of the US on the Russia-Ukraine war. Whereas the city of St. Louis has consciously attacked and destroyed African communities over the years in order to promote business and prosperity for others. Whereas the city of St. Louis destroyed the thriving neighborhood of Mill Creek Valley, carried out Let It Rot programs that kept resources from going to Black neighborhoods, and worked with federal agents to dump toxic chemicals from the rooftops of public housing projects. Whereas the brutal conditions faced by African people in the US continue today, where 1 in 3 African men born in the year 2000 will be imprisoned in his lifetime. Whereas in the United States, which has among the highest rates of maternal mortality in industrialized quote unquote countries, African women die during childbirth at a rate of 3 times higher than that of white women, and in some states up to 7 times higher. Whereas the average white family has 8 times the wealth of the average African family in the United States. Whereas over the years, St. Louis has been known for resistance and struggle for the interests and upliftment of the Black community. Whereas millions of African people in the 1960s struggling for basic human rights and economic and political power over their lives faced the effects of COINTELPRO, the COINTELPRO program of the FBI, which carried out assassinations, political imprisonment, slander, and harm. Whereas Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, along with W.E. Du Bois, James Baldwin, Aretha Franklin, Sam Cooke, and many others, such as civil rights worker Viola Liuzzo and American Indian leader Leonard Peltier, were targeted, threatened, surveilled, imprisoned, and or assassinated by the FBI with the complicity of local police departments. Whereas the police murder of 18-year-old Michael Brown in the suburb of Ferguson in 2014 sparked widespread resistance to longstanding police violence and was seen around the world. Whereas FBI files on the murder of Ferguson activist Darren Seals and others reveal that the local police worked with the FBI to target, and many say to murder him. Whereas the FBI worked with St. Louis police in arresting Uhuru movement member Temba Shabanda on bogus, quote, terrorist threat charges. Whereas we recognize that a prosperous, active African community of St. Louis is beneficial and contributes to the well-being of all residents in the city. Therefore, be it resolved that the city of St. Louis will be a sanctuary city in which the St. Louis Police Department and city government will refuse to cooperate with the FBI and any federal agency to attack Black community organizers and members for charges stemming from work for the betterment and upliftment of their community. St. Louis will become a city of refuge for African people struggling for social justice in solidarity with sanctuary programs for Indigenous, Mexican people, immigrants, and others seeking a safe haven to uplift their communities. Therefore, This resolution repudiates the denial of refuge for Dred and Harriet Scott and the ongoing notion that Black people have no rights, which the white man is bound to respect. This resolution redeems the city's relationship to the African community, vindicates the blood-drenched struggles of African people for democratic rights to vote, to create self-determination programs, to discuss against injustice, to exercise their right to freedom of speech and political assembly, and to take their views before the United Nations.
Okay, thank you very much. The next speaker is Zaki Baruti there.
Oh, Alderman Todd, I thought you had two that.
I did. I had a King Gay spoke and
Right.
and the guest spoke. So I just said two speakers to introduce it, and then the other speaker will speak 3 minutes.
Okay, so that's what I want to make sure. So you're going to introduce the speakers that are going to speak then? The
Yes,
3
I can.
minutes, and the clerk will, I guess, time them. So what I'm going to do is let you go ahead and introduce them then as you feel.
Okay, then is Zaki Baruti in?
Yes, I am.
Could you speak? Thank you, Mr. Baruti.
All right, thank you. First of all, good morning to each of you that's online. I want to thank Brother Jesse Todd for introducing the resolution today. And again, I'm Zaki Baruti. I'm President General of the Universal African Peoples Organization, which has an office in St. Louis City. And I'm here to speak and express first of all, my outrage. And I'm sure that everyone that's on this call should feel as I do, as well as others that will be speaking. Because first and foremost, that action on July the 29th was clearly a terroristic action by the government. And it was terroristic from my perspective, that first of all, the people who were targeted, they were not even indicted. So they unindicted co-conspirators, supposedly. Secondly, the whole concept of being innocent until proven guilty. And with the kind of force that was done that morning, again, just emphasized the need to adopt Brother Jesse Todd's resolution that this city should be, St. Louis City, a sanctuary from the kind of terroristic actions of the federal government that took place. And the work of the African People's Socialist Party to uplift our community is a proven reality. And so can you imagine, each of you wake up early in the morning and there's flashbangs and armed people at your door for, in essence, a nonviolent charge to be eventually handed out. So we're in totally support that the police agency of St. Louis should not in any way be working in conjunction with the federal government and carrying out any kind of, I'm gonna call it, keep it to the point, terroristic actions by the federal government. And that was purely, again, I want to emphasize the trauma that was placed in that community of residents, seeing the number of armed forces like at war in this country. Shame on them. Just as the Dred Scott was a genocidal act against Black people, that action revisits that whole Dred Scott episode in the history of America. So I'm calling upon fair-minded people such as you on this panel to do what is necessary, and that is to declare St. Louis City a sanctuary city for African people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baruti.
I would, let me just step in for a second. I don't know that I saw his picture. Maybe it's just my computer acting up, but I would ask that the speakers should be on their picture should be on. Okay.
Well, let me just, my picture's
Mr. Chairman, I
up.
can see him. Yeah, I can see him on there. It's kind of, it's
It's-
buzzing in
it's
and out. but
flashing
it's
in
there.
and out.
Mine computer's acting up.
Sure.
So, I would just so it's probably my computer. So
No, it's on my computer.
We can see him, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, okay. I will mute myself.
Okay, the next person is Jesse Neville. Is Jesse Neville in?
I do not see Jesse Neville's.
How about next is Halle Murray?
No, I'm
No,
here.
Jesse Neville's
Okay.
here.
Okay,
Okay,
Jesse.
all right. I'm good. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jesse Neville. I'm a resident of the South Side of St.
We
Louis.
need to see you, sir.
All right,
Hey,
I'll just
see
use,
you.
I'll just use mine.
I see him. He's on the screen.
Okay, you mute me.
Okay, you all are gonna have to mute when he's on the screen because it gives feedback.
How's that?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jesse Neville. I'm a resident of the South Side of St. Louis, and I'm here as a white person living in this city to express my full support for the resolution put forward by Alderman Jesse Todd. And I believe it is in the interests of all people living here for our local government to adopt this resolution declaring City of St. Louis a sanctuary for Black community leaders and activists working for the upliftment and betterment of their community. No cooperation between the local government or police and federal agencies attacking African people or anyone working for a better future for their communities. I'm a member of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. I also have the honor to work from the Uhuru Solidarity Center at 2654 Gravois Ave under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party to work in the white community for reparations and social justice for the Black community. And this was, as was mentioned, one of the buildings raided by the FBI on July 29th of last year. As one of the people who has walked the neighborhoods in this ward and knocked on doors and talked to many, many people, I can say with confidence that I speak for thousands of white people in South St. Louis who do not want the city we live in to be one that is notorious around the world, not just for the Del Mar divide between white wealth and Black poverty, but for this vicious raid that was carried out in North St. Louis and South St. Louis just a few months ago against the Uhuru movement, against Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party. I speak for thousands of white residents of this city who were deeply outraged by these raids, especially the raid on the North St. Louis home of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Ona Zane Yeshitela. Anytime I think about these two incredible and heroic leaders who have devoted their lives to the Black community, sitting at their kitchen table at 5 a.m., getting ready to start their day presiding over a training of 15 Black women to become certified birth workers, to be confronted by a violent militarized FBI raid done with the complicity and direct involvement of our local government, of the St. Louis Police Department. I can't even put into words how outraged and disgusted I am. Not only that this happened, of course, that it happened at all, but that it happened in our city. And the city government should take immediate action to remedy this and adopt this resolution to declare that this is a sanctuary city. And just close by saying that to adopt this resolution would make a profound statement of St. Louis as a model for the rest of the country, and to not adopt this sanctuary city resolution would also make a very disturbing statement. And I'm confident that the local government, the Board of Aldermen, will make the right decision. Thank you.
Halle Murray, can she please be the next speaker?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you. So my name is Halle Murray. I live in the Tower Grove East neighborhood, and I just really appreciate this meeting being called and that I can speak today. So I want to express my unconditional support of this sanctuary city resolution. As a resident of St. Louis myself, I am appalled and outraged that in my city, the local police force were complicit in this violent FBI raid on July 28th. On July 29th, which was a near assassination attempt of leaders in a Black liberation organization that are, as Jesse had said, training women to become doulas. They're building basketball courts for children and creating such a positive environment on the north side of St. Louis. And also, it was a huge waste of taxpayer money for the city to send local police to bang down the doors of Chairman Amalia Chatella and so many others in the Uhuru movement who are committed to changing the horrific conditions we see here in St. Louis as a result of colonialism, such as the Del Mar Divide. So imagine our city, instead of being known around the world for the violent police brutality murder of Michael Brown and the questionable FBI involvement of the murder of Darren Seals, imagine instead that our city is known internationally for being a haven for Black people, a true sanctuary city, which takes a stand for reparations and for freedom. And as a white person, I believe that the Black community has a right to organize for themselves, to do things in their neighborhood that they seem as important, such as everything that the Black Power Blueprint is doing on the North Side. I wholeheartedly support this resolution because I see with my own eyes the Del Mar Divide, the difference between the white community and the Black community, and I know what they're doing is changing those conditions for the better. And I just want to end saying that I volunteer with one of the businesses that was attacked by these FBI raids. It's a Black-owned business called Uhuru Planet Reparations Apparel, which is, we have our storefront here in the Solidarity Center where I'm located at 2654 Gravois. And on July 29th of last year, the St. Louis local police, along with the FBI, smashed down the doors of this business and causing, damaged our inventory. These are hand-printed shirts and other artisan products. And this is a Black-owned business. So what that shows is that the city of St. Louis is directly attacking Black-owned businesses in the city. So if the city cares at all about supporting Black economic development and Black-owned businesses, I urge you to adopt the Dred Scott Sanctuary City Resolution to take a progressive stance in support of reparations to the Black community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Deborah Warren. Is Deborah Warren in?
Good morning. Yes, I am. First of all, I want to thank this commission for listening to us and dealing with the problem that St. Louis has had for a while. I've been raised in St. Louis. I went to school. I went to Stevens School. I went to Sumner High School. I got my nursing degree from Webster University. I raised my children with the aspect of they can live here in peace and watch their families grow, but nope, not in St. Louis, because I've seen the changes that there have not been any changes. They've been for the worse, not for the better. This resolution will help St. Louis survive the future. My grandchildren are growing up, but they're not growing up here in the city that they were born, that their parents were born in. For young people that have grown up in St. Louis move away to find a better life because they can't find improvements here that really secure them and secure their security about their families being raised. When the history has shown any type of improvement that is brought up about an African community is threatened. The leadership is threatened. They are in fear of being retaliated against. When the police and the federal government can come and knock your doors down, break your windows, harass you because you are just trying to do community improvement in a city that an area is look like a desert, but people live there. Our people live there. African people live there. That is when we need this resolution. If St. Louis does not adopt this resolution, we don't have a future. African people need to know that they can speak up. We're taught that, oh, you can be anything you want to be. But if you speak up about it, just to have basic human rights, you get threatened, you get jailed, and you get subpoenas for some saying like you don't have a mind of your own. You don't know that you live in poverty. You don't know that your children are being killed every day. This resolution will be a saving grace for St. Louis. Thank you.
Next speaker is Amanda Conzoli.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I want to appreciate this committee for having this meeting and for your time this morning. My name is Amanda Carlozzi, and I support the Dred Scott Sanctuary City resolution that has been put forward by Alderman Jesse Todd. And I believe that the adoption of this resolution will benefit the entire city, creating a positive atmosphere for the cooperation and upliftment of the African community. With the passing of this resolution, St. Louis has an opportunity to take a progressive stand and put in place a policy that will begin to end the Delmar divide. I'm a resident of St. Louis living in Ward 9. I moved to St. Louis after seeing the transformative positive work of the Black Power Blueprint, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be involved in that organization. I am appalled that this organization, whose goal is the betterment of their community, that's training Black women to become doulas, building community centers, and revitalizing properties that have been left to rot in the north side of St. Louis by deliberate policies set in place by local politicians over generations, that this organization was violently attacked by the FBI and that the city of St. Louis cooperated with this attack. As a white person in St. Louis, I don't want to live in a city whose legacy is that of denying African people the right to organize in peace. St. Louis could become a refuge for African people and others, encouraging and welcoming them to be able to work for the betterment of the community without fear of attack or harm. And I encourage you to pass the Dred Scott Sanctuary City resolution and do something that will make St. Louis a model for all cities that want to create unity and build social justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Next speaker is Matum Hobie in Matum.
Uhuru. Uhuru, can I be heard?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Matum Nyobi, and I'm coming from Philadelphia. And I'm a member of the African People's Socialist Party, and St. Louis is actually my second home. You know, first and foremost, I'm really upset about the attack on African people, the African community, and the chairman. Being a veteran of the Marine Corps and a disabled veteran, you know, going all over the world, and then come back and see FBI and military forces in our community attacking my people. And we say attack on the Black community anywhere is attack on the Black community everywhere. So I just want to say that I'm in support of the Dred Scott City of Resolution for St. Louis to become a refuge city. I want to thank Alderman Jesse Todd and the Public Safety Committee for hearing this proposal for the city of St. Louis to adopt the Sanctuary City of Refuge resolution, calling for St. Louis to adhere to a policy of non-cooperation with the FBI and other federal authorities in relationship to charges and raids that stem from organizations work uplifting their community. Historically, the city of St. Louis has consciously attacked and destroyed African communities over the years in order to promote business and prosperity for others. The Housing Act of 1949, among other pieces of legislation, documents that. We want to see this city be a haven for economic prosperity for the Black community and others who want to actively work towards developing programs that benefit their community without the threat of harm from the government to them, their homes, or programs they are building. On Friday, July 29th, before sunrise, the home of African People's Socialist Party Chairman Omali Yeshitela, 81 years old, and his wife, Ona Zane Yeshitela, was attacked by scores of assault weapon-toting FBI agents and local police officers who arrived in armored vehicles. They broke windows and doors, threw flashbang grenades and drones into the house, handcuffed them, did not show them warrant.
Time.
And I'm bringing it. Thank you. And held them for hours without being under arrest. So,
Thank you.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Will Lockett in?
Yes,
Will?
I'm here. Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Will Lockett, Kabula Mutombo, a member of the African People's Socialist Party in Chicago. I support the Dred Scott Sanctuary City Resolution. This resolution would mean the city of St. Louis would not allow the police department to work with the FBI or other federal agencies. In Chicago, Black Panther Party Chairman Fred Hampton was assassinated on December 4th, 1969 by the FBI's COINTELPRO operation with assistance of the Chicago Police Department. This Dred Scott Sanctuary City resolution engages political action of African people throughout the Midwest, throughout the United States and the world. This resolution shows what must be accomplished. It's the right thing to do. After all, we want the peace, we want the right to free speech and political association, a guarantee to the right to work for the betterment and an emancipation of Black people without fear of political imprisonment and loss of life, limb, and livelihood. Yes, it's the right thing to do, and it wins the support of many throughout the world for a just cause. Thank you.
Okay, is Jamil Abigail in?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, and thank you to Alderman Jesse Todd for submitting this resolution and to the committee for hearing my statement. My name is Jamal Hussein Abigaz. I'm a local organizer with the Uhuru Movement, and I'm here to speak in St. Louis, and I'm here to speak to the significance of the error of the United States Supreme Court in the Dred Scott decision and its lasting effects, and the role of this committee in this city in recommending the adoption of this resolution. In Winnie versus Whitesides, the Missouri Supreme Court ruled in 1824 that a person who had been held as a slave in Illinois, where slavery was illegal, then brought to Missouri, was free by virtue of residence in a free state, and when he was freed. And in 1834, Rachel versus Walker, the Missouri State Supreme Court ruled that a U.S. Army officer who took Rachel, an enslaved African woman, to a military post in a territory where slavery was prohibited and retained her there for several years, had thereby, quote unquote, forfeited his property. Rachel and her son, John, were freed. And yet, the United States Supreme Court took great pains to tell us as African people that, quote, a free Negro of the African race whose ancestors were brought to this country and sold as slaves is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. In overturning precedent, it threw away the notion that the founding documents of this country meant anything for African people. It took 200 pages of racist legal machinations to affirm that the notions of equality were just that, notions that vanish like steam when convenient. These FBI raids on the Uhuru Movement with the cooperation of the St. Louis police tend to demonstrate that despite all the words written since to strike the effects of the Dred Scott decision from history, what many of you presume as a right now is just as inaccessible as it was then to African people. This sanctuary city resolution is not simply words, but rather compels action. Each of these cases originated in St. Louis courts, involving your predecessors, making them, and by extension, you, complicit in the past and present assault in legal clothing on African people in St. Louis with national impact. Recommending the adoption of this resolution will sever the city and its public safety agencies from being used as a weapon to deny the rights to participate in the political process and in the organizing for the betterment of African people. I would hope that this committee and the full Board of Aldermen views the necessity of rectifying the city's history of oppression of Black people by adopting this resolution 166. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Regina Gray.
I'm here. Can I be heard?
Yes.
All right. My name is Regina Gray. I am a member of the African National Women's Organization, which is an organization under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. I want to say that we denounce these state attacks against Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru movement, including our leaders, Deputy Chair Onozene Yeshitela and Director of Agitprop and Propaganda, Akili Anai. Under the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Onozene Yeshitela, the north side of St. Louis is being transformed back into the thriving African community it once was. No other organization is bringing economic power, self-reliance, and self-determination to the African community of Northside St. Louis. We've seen throughout history that the ways in which the state targets any African person who dares to build our people up so that we can determine our own future and fulfill our own destinies. This resolution also shows that many African people, many of our leaders were deeply impacted by FBI COINTELPRO attacks on the Black movement, but this is also a continuance of the original assault on Africa that brought us as a people to the north side of St. Louis. This is just the latest iteration of those attacks, and we fully support the Dred Scott Sanctuary Resolution as a means of protecting any organization, especially African, that is working for the betterment of our people. This resolution is an opportunity for St. Louis to begin a journey of redemption and end its legacy of oppression against the African community. Thank you.
Next is Brenda McCoy in?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to thank Jesse Todd for bringing this resolution forward and thank the committee for allowing me to speak. My name is Brendan McCoy and I live in the 8th Ward here in St. Louis. I've lived in and around St. Louis my entire life, so I feel a strong sense of pride around my city. This was tested on July 29th when the St. Louis City Police cooperated with the FBI to violently assault an organization that has done nothing but work tirelessly to uplift our community. My city, where almost 8 years to the day prior, a police officer shot and unarmed Mike Brown 6 times, where in 2016, anti-police brutality activist Darren Seals, who the FBI had been investigating, was found murdered in a torched car. Our city has a long past of racially motivated attacks like these, and they have to stop. This resolution is critical because it sends a message to the rest of the country that St. Louis is working to make things better. We won't let attacks like these continue. St. Louis won't cooperate with bogus investigations targeting pillars of our community who have only worked to improve the lives of others. Passing this resolution not only helps defend the African community from attacks like these, but shows that they have the support of the city to keep building their community. It shows that St. Louis wants to end the Del Mar divide and end this vast economic disparity. If organizations like the African People's Socialist Party are allowed to work unfettered, the amount of good they can do for the community is immeasurable. We've seen it locally over the last few years, and it's been nothing short of inspiring. The Black Power blueprint has been shifting the landscape in North St. Louis by building institutions that have uplifted the community. The weekly farmers market has provided fresh produce in an area that's been referred to as a, quote, food desert, a state-of-the-art community basketball court, a community garden that not only provides fresh food, but a spot to hold gatherings and other community events. The Black Power Blueprint is also currently building a women's health center to help address the healthcare disparity in our city. Coincidentally, the day of the FBI raids was also the day the party was completing a doula training program. These, among so many other things, are what our city stands to lose if we don't take action. Please pass this resolution and take a principled stance with the people of our city. Make St. Louis a safe haven for anyone wanting to uplift and improve their community. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Because those are the names I wrote down. I hope I didn't skip anybody.
Yes. Alderman, this is Penny. Thank you very much. There were 2 more approved statements. One is Barbara Chigerio of the Green Party, who is on, and also Marissa Martinez, if that's okay. That our understanding.
Right, can you all speak, please? Because I did leave off those names. I remember that.
Thank you very much.
This is Barbara. Should I go next or shall I
Yes.
wait? Okay.
Yes, Barbara.
Okay, good morning. This is Barb Chicario. I'm here this morning representing the St. Louis Green Party. And I want to thank the Public Safety Committee for hearing my comments. And I want to thank Jesse Todd for bringing forth this resolution, the Dred Scott resolution. I'm here to support the adoption of Resolution 166, the Dred Scott resolution, for St. Louis to become a sanctuary city for African people who are being targeted for organizing projects that uplift their community. Our country, our state, our city, St. Louis, all bear the scars of a long history of racism. Some of these scars are a testament to brutal attacks against people of African descent. Some of the scars are not quite as obvious, but they reflect deep wounds. The first recorded lynching of an African American took place right here in St. Louis, April 28, 1836, when a free Black steward named Francis McIntosh disembarked from the steamboat Flora on the levee in St. Louis, and within an hour he was dead from being lynched. I'm sorry, did you get that? Sorry. One example of a less obvious scar is the historical and sometimes informal, sometimes formal practice of redlining, making housing available to people of color in prescribed districts or areas, creating segregated communities. I should have said making housing only available in these areas. I want to be clear that separate is not equal, and this practice is what brought about the Del Mar Divide. Redlining also brought about financial disparity for generations. It was often difficult to get bank loans in these areas, and Black families had no choice except to rent. This made the accumulation of generational wealth impossible because property is the manner in which most families pass wealth from one generation to the next. These examples are just two of so many that call out for reparations. And while Resolution 166 is not exactly a form of reparations, it sets the groundwork to protect programs with goals and standards that address fairness and equality. Giving Blacks in St. Louis the opportunity to guide their own future is a sound foundation for a strong community. The Black Power Blueprint is such a great example of this. Therefore, we are calling on the city of St. Louis to adopt the Dred Scott resolution to become a sanctuary city for African people and others who might face political attacks stemming from organizing to uplifting the African community. Thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Marissa.
Okay, great. My name is Marissa Martinez. I live in St. Louis City. I see the stark difference between the neighborhoods and the living conditions in North City versus South City. I know that economic development in the white community came at the expense of the Black community through millions of dollars for community block grants, tax abatements, and projects funded for simply being next to a so-called blighted area. Lack of funding of Black public schools is directly connected to money going elsewhere. This is essentially Black removal by white approval with tax breaks incentives to gentrifying developers and opportunists. We know city leaders wanted to remove the Black community by any means necessary. We saw this in St. Louis City, St. Louis's history time and time again. Black leaders and organizers fought and died for their rights and to make our society live up to its values of liberty and justice for all. They went on strike and protested to make progressive changes in the workplace, voting, housing, and police murders in the Black community. Instead of being supported and exalted, they became targets of the FBI, with the goal of destroying their personal lives and organizations. The FBI, with the cooperation of local law enforcement, has done unlawful acts of surveillance, harassment, raids, arrests, bombings, and murder, all done with impunity. When they raided the homes and offices of the Uhuru movement leaders, they wanted to send a message to the whole Black community, as well as to white people in solidarity. This can happen to you. Leaders like Omali Yeshitela, Onozine Yeshitela, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville are pioneers in this new solidarity, economy, and society. They have the long view and work towards building and funding projects and programs that are badly needed in the north side of St. Louis. FBI raids and bogus charges imposed on the Black community and leaders are not new, but your response in this resolution is new by prohibiting the cooperation with unlawful FBI activity that targets Black leaders and white supporters. These important leaders shouldn't be raided, lives threatened, or imprisoned on bogus charges simply because they have a different political worldview than the FBI or whoever is in office. We have to have new covenants that ensure the public safety and well-being of all St. Louis residents. St. Louis should be a safe haven for pioneering people, leading us to a more peaceful and just world. Please show support for this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other speakers? Are there any other speakers? If
No, I
not,
don't have any other ones.
okay, if not, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Public Safety Committee members, speakers, and listeners. I would like to, first of all, say this resolution is simply protecting our First Amendment rights as citizens have a right to gather peacefully together. And secondly, citizens have a right to petition their government. And Article 6 hold us as county elected officials. We swore, and the law enforcement officers in this county, which is the city of St. Louis, all county, state, federal elected officials and law enforcement officers took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States. I'm asking the committee to support this resolution, and I yield, Mr. Chairman, and back to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we will go through members of the committee. I will say it's a resolution which has no weight in the sense that it's not a board bill. That's the first thing. Just, you know, it doesn't. It's just a statement, just so everybody on this understands that. I guess I had one other concern about this. Right now in Jefferson City, they're talking about taking our police department away from us. And I just don't know if this resolution doesn't give them more fodder to do that. I just wanted to make those couple statements. And again, it's not a board bill. A board bill would actually have merit, where a resolution is just like a strong letter. It doesn't have the same merit as a board bill. Having said that, I'm going to go down the members of the committee. Would start with Alderwoman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, wow, that was a lot. First, let me say to you that for those members of this committee who are not close to that north side area, all the work that is being done there is extremely well done. I probably stop by, most especially during the summer months when there's a lot of activity almost every Saturday that there is something going on. I don't know why this occasion happened, but as our chairman indicated, unfortunately, this does not give us any directive to do anything. And it really doesn't give you all that you probably would like to get in a way of, if nothing else, recognition and some type of resolution to the wrong that you believe was done to you. And so there's a better way to do it. And that's pretty much where I'm going to go. And for all that know me, know that I can't help myself. I got to make it right. And I don't want to put a lot of pressure on anybody, but there's some other things that I think should be done. And before I get to that list, and I am going to be somewhat brief, I also wanted to remind everyone that our mayor and this board have already recognized the need for reparation. And you do know that our mayor supports that and has put it to the public and is working on that. And we all do support whatever that looks like. We got to figure it out and we got to try to make something happen. Also, there has never been anything in the past that I know of other than when the Ukrainians came in, we did do a resolution to support them for their flight from undue justice that was put upon them by the Russians. So all we can do is make a statement with a resolution. We can't direct anybody to do anything. And honestly speaking, we don't even have the power to supervise the police department. That can only be done by the executive branch, by the mayor, under the public safety department with the police commissioner. So we don't have that kind of power, but we do have power to look at this a little bit closer. That's where I was going. And what I would like to do, Mr. Chairman, is it okay for me to speak with Alderman Todd?
Oh, absolutely. Alderman Todd, will you yield for questions from the Alderman of the 19th, Alderman Davis?
Alderman Todd.
Yeah.
Todd, okay. Sir, I wanted to respect you and ask you if you would agree to us having a hearing through the Public Safety Committee and bring in a police department and the FBI. Because there's no other way to get that. What we need out front in a very, very serious way. They're not going to come and talk to your organization. They're not going to do that, but they will come and talk to us. And I would like to talk to them. And I'm sure other committee members would too, because like I said, I'm almost, and I can talk forever, but I'm almost at a loss for words. But I do know that we need to put this out here so that, first of all, there needs to be some accountability to this issue. And I think that we're the ones who can get that done. Would you be interested in that, sir?
First of all, the answers I want us to do all the talking, but this resolution, let me be very clear. I'm always interested in talking with the FBI, any law enforcement officers. But this resolution to make clear what you just said, it does not call for the board to do anything but accept what our constitutional rights, and also to accept the what we've sworn to uphold, which is the city charter, which is the city charter, the state constitution, and the federal constitution, and the law enforcement officers have sworn to do the same. So this resolution does not require us to do anything, so we could pass the resolution and then continue to talk. And I would be more than happy to do both. We don't have to do either or. We could continue to talk.
Oh, I want to do both.
I want
But
to,
I
you know,
think,
so I'm
yeah.
saying, yes, I think I would love to continue to talk. At the same time, today we could pass the resolution saying that we want the Constitution. So this is a constitutional issue that we've already sworn to uphold. This is a constitutional issue that the law enforcement, different agencies have sworn to uphold. So this is not asking us to do anything. We're asking that the Constitution be upheld. At the same time, my answer is absolutely. I would love to continue to talk. I would like to do both, pass the resolution and continue to talk and hold, and be transparent, as you said, and also hold the law enforcement agencies accountable, as well as us as all the people who have also sworn to uphold the Constitution. I would like to do both. Would that be okay with you, Madam?
What I was looking for is for us to, first of all, make this a stronger resolution. And the only way I can do that is when I have an opportunity to have a hearing, because that way we'll know more, number one. It can be a stronger resolution. And right. I think that if we do nothing else, we should allow that to happen.
But I was just thinking, my opinion is that we don't want, I think the resolution is, we don't want any stronger resolution, because the only thing a resolution can do is to take out, it doesn't have the effect of enforcing the law, but what it does is to emphasize that we expect everyone to follow the Constitution, because no one is above the Constitution. That's all it's saying, is that we had a Constitution. I read the constitutional article, as well as the amendments to the Constitution, which clearly states that we do have a right to peaceably assemble, and also the right to freedom of speech, the right to also gather petitions. So the answer is, we're not trying to we're just following, we're saying, let's follow the Constitution. That's all. So we could continue to talk. And of course, if anyone wants to come up with something stronger, I don't have all the answers, but right now, what I want passed today is that we have constitutional rights, and I would like for us to vote on respecting those constitutional rights today. So that's my position, Madam Alderwoman of the 19th Ward.
Okay, so you gave me a little bit more clarity there. And the constitutional rights are there in place for us. But in your resolution, you said that you would like for us to become a sanctuary city.
We do.
And not work with the police department or the FBI.
Not when yes, you work with them, not working with them when, I'm saying, let me make this very clear. What the center said was that, in fact, I had a resolution here. Let me read the exact sentence and what it says. So I don't want anyone to think that we're saying don't work with the police. We're not saying that. Let me read what the sentence says. Let me get my glass. Okay, I'm gonna take my time, because it says that it says, therefore be resolved that the city of St. Louis be a sanctuary city in which the St. Louis Police Department and city government will refuse to cooperate with the FBI and federal agencies to attack Black community organizers and members for charges stemming from work for the betterment and uplifting of the community. So we're talking about the betterment. You're within the law. All you're doing is, all I'm doing as a volunteer, which I did for all of my life since I was 12 years old. All I'm doing is getting, let's say, for example, in the poverty, if I'm demonstrating, I've been part of many organizations. I'm peacefully protesting for jobs, let's say, and I'm within the law. and that's for the betterment of the community, open housing. Well, the FBI, the city shouldn't allow any law enforcement agency to attack citizens who are working for the betterment of their community. When I was a Democratic committee man for more than 20 years and the treasurer for the Democratic Party, if I'm out passing out those handbills trying to get a candidate elected, which I'm peacefully assembling, are passing out flyers to houses or knocking on doors trying to get out to vote, are trying to ask people to vote for me. And somebody come up and say, well, I want to be what the committee man or the alder person, I'm just using me as an example. Well, I have a right to do that. I have a right to pass out handbills because I'm peacefully assembling. If I'm in a meeting at the Central Committee, in the meeting at the African People's Socialist Party or the Uhuru Movement's building, and I'm there at the farmers market that they have or speaking, peacefully. No one at the city should not cooperate and let them come in and lock me up because I'm associating with somebody they may disagree with. Or let's say I was a member of the Democratic Central Committee for more than 20-some years, but let's say if I go to the Green Party's meeting and people don't like them, let's say, well, I still have a right to peacefully assemble. I'll go to some of our speakers who were here earlier, UAPO's meeting, and I'm there. I still have a right to peacefully assemble if they have a fundraiser. So this resolution just says that all citizens, which the Constitution says, have a right to peacefully assemble. And if I want to collect petition, let's say if I want to collect, if some group, myself, I'm using myself because I don't want to use other groups, want to collect petitions. Let's say, for example, I went throughout the 18th ward doing ward reduction. I collected more than 5,000 signatures, but I was peacefully assembling. Nobody should be able to come to me who is for cutting the walls, if the city were, and I'm not saying they are. No one should be able to come to the police, law enforcement shouldn't be able to come to me and say you shouldn't do that because let's say if they disagree. Because nobody's above the law. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, so I'm giving examples of what I've experienced peacefully assembling. Some concrete example with different organizations where there was people who agreed and some didn't about ward reduction. But I was one of the leading people trying to get it back on the ballot. In fact, I collected more than $38,000 through the Central Committee and was going to give personally 5,000 more, up to 50, make it up to 50,000, so 12,000 more. But people still may have disagreed. So that's all I'm saying. But I would still have the right to freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, even though the voters had done that. I wanted to educate the voters, which was freedom of speech, to show them where we shouldn't have ward reduction because it will increase, for example, double the cost of filing for alderperson. It will increase the cost for running for that position. So I wanted to educate people as I went through the war, which I did. But unfortunately, it did get on the ballot, but I did use my freedom of assembly.
Alderman Todd, what I'm trying to figure out is, did you all ever find out why they did the raid? What did the warrant say? Because see, for me, I don't know enough. And I want to be able to tell them what they need to hear in a very strong, different way. But I don't even know what the warrant was for.
The warrant, what they said was
what they claim it was for.
What they claimed it was for was they said it was a unindicted conspirator, unindicted meant for working working with the Russians during an election. That's all they said, but they're not. But you're innocent until proven guilty. You can work with it again. That's peacefully assembling. That's innocent
but we
until
know the
proven guilty.
FBI. They just went to our president's home looking for things. Our former president. That's what they do. They go looking
but
for.
They didn't knock his door in. They came in. They didn't kick in Donald Trump's door when they went to Mar-a-Lago They did not kick in Joe Biden, President Biden's door. They did not kick in former Vice President Pence's door.
No,
They went,
but the average person they do.
They did not, but they were peaceful, but they didn't do that. And also and I support their rights to peacefully assemble. I support
everybody's right to peacefully assemble.
Right. No one, I do not support the January 6th was not peacefully assembling. I'm giving an example when you're not peacefully assembling, but all the rest, but they shouldn't, President Trump, former President Trump has the right to peacefully assemble. Former President Pence has a right to peacefully assemble. President Biden has a right to peacefully assemble. Without them, and they did not, and so this is what this resolution is about, the right to peacefully assemble, regardless as to what party you belong to, what your politics are, because the Constitution says that if you're born in America, you're a citizen of America, and so it doesn't just address this issue, because this is not the issue. This issue is for all organizations, and it was clearly stated that every organization, including when Viola Luso was assassinated, when an FBI agent, she's a white woman, by the way. This happened in the 1960s. She was just riding. She was driving some voters to vote.
I'm aware of the story. I am.
Now, first of all, the Constitution was wrong because of the fact that we already had the right to vote. They shouldn't have, again, we look at Schweitzer, and we look at Schweitzer and Goodman, who were two other white people, and Cheney, who was a black guy. They got killed again for peacefully, which we should have. Let's look again at the Bloody Sunday. A white Episcopalian priest got killed for peacefully assembling. So what I'm saying is that's all we are saying. Everybody got that right, and and we don't want the police. We don't want law enforcement who violating those rights, and no one is above the law. And those of us who are county elected officials and law enforcement officers have sworn to uphold the Constitution. That's all we are saying.
They do uphold, they're supposed to do that. But one of the things I'm trying to get to, sir, is, first of all, I don't want to give anybody any false expectations, because we don't have any power.
Right, I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you. We do not, and I'm not asking, and I don't want to waste the Public Safety Committee's time. We can talk. We do not have any power to do anything to law enforcement or to change, but we can go on.
Nor does the law enforcement have any power.
They don't have any power, but they do have. But both the law enforcement and us, as all the people, have sworn to uphold the Constitution. That's what we do have the power to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all we're asking, is that we have the power to do it. And I would like us to vote to reaffirm that we do. First of all, we pledged when we were sworn in. And I want us to
respectfully, Alderman Todd, I'm going to have to say to you that the resolution is not worded properly to accomplish that goal of support from these members of this committee or any other elected person. We have to also know that when we are saying or declaring something, that it must be appropriate in its wording, and it must be appropriate in the intent that it goes to the public. And all I'm asking for is that you allow us to help with that. That's all. Because I know the good work that is being done. Like I say, I'm there all the time. I am so excited when I stay for the young people's performances. You all have great entertainment. You practice healthy eating and living and all kinds of things. And I was like a 5-year-old when the gentleman was there from his farm with the chickens. I had to have my pictures taken. Nowhere else in the city are we trying to teach children those kind of things. I mean, I support what is going on there, and they're doing great work. But what I want to do is I need to make sure that this is right. That's all I'm saying. You work with me. You work with me long enough to know that. Okay. And you know, when I come out with it, I want everybody on this committee to understand what I'm saying. And I want to give you all that you can get from this on a different level. That's all I'm asking for.
Might not be able to see you.
Because it's required.
As I said, the only thing that I was presenting today, and I'm presenting this resolution, only thing I'm presenting today is I presented speakers. I support the resolution. I presented it. And I sent it to the attorney. And I told him to put it in legal form, which I do at and so he did put it in legal form. So and then he sent it back to me in the resolution in legal form. And I'm not an attorney, and I don't know who else on the committee is an attorney. He said it's legal. He's our attorney. And I asked him to put it in legal form. So I did and he sent it back to me and put it in legal form and said it's in legal form. So all I can do is go with the attorney who said it's in legal form. That's all I can do. I
appreciate his attempt.
We can add on, I'm sure, as a safety committee person, anything else, but this resolution in particular, I think we should move forward with what is this attorney said. I don't have the authority to challenge. I'm not an attorney. That's why I sent my email to him. And he said, this is legal. This is the way you write it. He changed some things. He sent it back. And once he changed it, he said, this is the way it should be written. I don't have the authority to do that because the legal attorney for the Board of Aldermen people said, this is the way it has to be presented.
And sometimes when we get in committee, we realize that other things need to take place.
I don't have that authority.
And that's all I'm saying, sir.
I
think that this organization deserves what I'm trying to suggest. I think that they deserve it. I think that it will provide some additional information. I think that you will be proud if we take this
it's not about me though, Alderwoman. This is about
No. I know where your heart is. You're serious. You are very committed, and all I'm trying to do is take it where it should be.
Well, after the attorney corrected it, and I'm presenting this resolution on behalf of, and I support it on behalf of the presenting this resolution and sponsoring it, and I approved of it before I presented it. I have to stay with what I agreed to do. And I don't know, Penny has.
Yes, I just, well, first of all, I just want to say that I do agree that,
Penny, first off, this has to stay between the aldermen now, and only someone that is recognized to speak if a direct question, and once we have the public speakers, we don't normally then do debate with the public speakers. It's
fine. You're right, sir.
I will give you a brief minute to talk, but this can become a massive debate between everybody and their brother, and we just never have done this in the past. It's always.
Well, I just really want to appreciate the support from Alderwoman Davis, and I do think that in addition to passing the resolution, I do think a hearing with the police and FBI, I think that would be really important. I think that would be a good thing to have.
Yeah, I think when you have a public hearing, it also allows you to have more foundation to what you're trying to execute, and we normally do that. So in this case, I just think it's imperative, and I would love to see that happen. And my gracious Alderman Todd, I'm not talking about not ever voting on your resolution. I'm just saying, let's get these folks in here next week. Let's get this done right, because I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna benefit the organization a lot, an awful lot.
Okay, my question is, I didn't hear very clearly on my phone. Did Penny Hess say, I didn't understand that she thought it was a good idea because I'm also working with.
Yes, sir, she did.
That
She did say that.
a hearing would be a good idea with the police and FBI. The proposal by Alderwoman Davis for a public hearing with the police representative and FBI, I think that would be a good thing. I do think that voting on this would be important, but I also want to say I think that's a good goal.
Okay.
I would
Okay,
say.
so is she okay?
We can get the police chief to come in. We can get the police to come in.
We can get the FBI to come in too.
The FBI? I don't know that we can ask them, but I don't know that.
No. The director over there, Jim will come. Oh yeah, they need to come. Because you know what? Accountability is on all levels.
Right. Well, let's.
And see, I'm not above bringing in Homeland Security too.
Well, if they'll show, I mean, I do know that we have some authority to have the police come in. We can ask the clerk, Harry, to send letters, just like we're doing next week with MSD and some of them. We can ask them to come in, but city agencies, we can't. We have subpoena power for city agencies. They say no. We can't subpoena the FBI and say you have to come.
We can ask them, since they said they want to be friendly and work with community.
Oh, no. I'm with you, and certainly we can send that ask out. I haven't we'll ask the clerk to do that. Well, so let's go ahead, and I think we should keep moving.
I'm sorry I took so long.
No, you're fine.
Sir.
We got.
But I just really want to, like I said, I know that they do good work. And when you're working in community, everybody has a place. Everybody serves a role. And maybe you don't like the way my role appears to be, but at the end of the day, it all makes our community as a whole better. So let's try to get this. I just want to make it better. That's all.
So I would ask Tracy, where you at? Madam Clerk, Tracy?
Yes.
Okay. Please convey to the clerk that we would like to have someone from the FBI. Alderwoman Davis seems to know them. The police chief, or at least someone from there. I would think at that point it's going to be the new director of public safety, Charlie Coyle. Alderman Davis, who else did you want in?
Well, I think that those three are the main ones that we must deal with. And I think that'll work out good. But I'm gonna have a sidebar with them about some other things if they haven't taken action on that are available to them. But I won't do that in committee. And I just want to apologize to my committee members that I took so long, but I didn't have any other way but to make sure that it's right and give it all that we can.
That's fine. And what I would say to the members of the public, although you'll be able to have say, I don't think we can get into an argument with the FBI and the police. I don't think we should accuse them of stuff or get in fights.
No. But we can get additional information.
Right. No, I understand. I understand what you're looking for. I just, if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on through the committee.
Yes, sir. I yield. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think that I would just like to say that I do think that the people, especially those targeted, should be in the public hearing. Able to testify.
No, everybody's welcome to the public hearing.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, we're not going to debate. We're not going to have. We can't have members of the public debating the police chief and everybody else. Again, you can all come in, you can all say your statements again and everything, that's fine. Penny, I'm allowing you to speak, even though once it's really unprecedented. We never do that. We let the public speak and then we move on to the committee. Unless a member of a committee has a specific question for one of the speakers. So, you know, I mean, that I just want to make sure that, you know, let everybody know that what we can do and can't do. Alderwoman Howard, you're up.
I really don't have any. I agree with the Alderwoman from the 19th. I think we need clarity. I think we could firm this up, have a reasonable understanding. I don't feel prepared to vote on this today because I just don't know enough about some of the issues that are in this. So I would like to maybe have some debate on this, and not debate, but some more information about this. And I would also, the Alderman from the Alderman
Davis?
No.
Rice.
The sponsor.
Yeah.
Alderman.
Yes.
Todd, would he yield for a question? I'm sorry, I just was.
Alderman Todd, will you yield for a question?
Yes, I will.
Okay, Alderman from 14th, proceed.
I understand that these people were mistreated by the FBI and the police. Do you know if this case is still pending at all?
It's what now?
Is it still pending? Is it still in litigation?
It's not even a litigation because it's unindicted. So it's still pending, but it's nothing happened. It's just sitting there. They're not indicted.
I just like more understanding on that.
Okay, they are not indicted. It's unindicted co-conspirators. So they're not indicted.
Okay, again, I'd just like better understanding on that. So, okay, I will defer, and I agree with the Alderwoman from the 19th. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
And I will let someone from the public answer this one. Is there pending charges in court over this? Alderman Todd?
There is the possibility when you are listed, when 4 people were listed as unindicted co-conspirators, that put you in legal limbo. You can't. But they can rule with a grand jury to indict you at any time. We have indications that they are getting ready to do that. The charges are incredibly bogus and ridiculous based on the relationship, quote unquote, that they are manufacturing, that this movement had with, quote, Russians and Russian agents coming under malign influence and saying that it was Russians who told them to struggle for reparations and against genocide against the Black community, which is absurd. So these are totally bogus charges, but there are indications that they are getting ready to indict.
We'd have to be cautious not to discuss the case.
We'll be okay. We'll be okay.
No, I'm just saying, you know, but I don't know anything about the case, so can't discuss it anyway, but we have to be. Okay, Alderwoman Howard, was that all your?
Yes, that's all. I did want to know, and that gives me a little more clarity. Still makes the issue a little more fuzzy with that information. But yeah, I would feel better if we had a little more clarity on this. Thank you.
Alderwoman Ingracia, are you with us?
No, she had to leave.
Okay. Alderwoman Spencer. I don't think she's here.
No.
Alderwoman Pam Boyd, you're here, I know.
I had my hand up earlier, and I think the group kind of collaboratively agreed, because they were, most of them were saying they want to meet with have the FBI and the police come before them for another hearing. So that's all I had to say. They were kind of listening to say, yeah, we probably need to go to the next step to make sure we're getting clarity and we're doing what we need to be doing and getting the right information. So I've passed through there, and it is nice, and the food is great. So, I mean, I shouldn't be talking about food, but anyway, I'm just saying, thank you.
Okay, Alderman Bosley, I don't believe he joined us.
Of course I
Yes,
joined.
he is. He's on
He
the, yeah.
is here.
Yeah, that is-
Oh, it's always good to see your bright and shining face here.
Yeah.
Good to see you as well.
Amazing.
I don't have many comments that I think would take. Excuse me, getting the call in, but I don't want to take much more of the committee's time. I do believe that having another hearing and getting more information would probably be the best thing to do. Therefore, we are doing what we're supposed to do, is to not, investigate claims like this, but at bare minimum, ensure that when there is any involvement with police officers, FBI, in certain cases that are particular to things that would continually be open to some degree, I think it makes sense to just make sure that we are doing what we should be doing and making sure that we have all the available information to us, and, being able to ensure that we make the best decisions. So, that being said, I most certainly agree with us having another hearing on it, opposed to, not having that. I think that's a great suggestion. So, with that, I yield.
Okay, Alderman Narayan, you're up next.
Thank you, Chairman Vaccaro. I just would like to echo the sentiments of the alderman from the 19th Ward. I know the alderman from the 18th Ward and I have worked on numerous pieces of legislation together, and I know that both of us feel like people's constitutional rights are paramount. The right to speech, the right to peaceful assembly, the right to disagree with me on matters of foreign policy. But I also have some concern at a time when we're discussing local control, state control of our police department, what a resolution like this, what effect that may have, and to vote on it without kind of getting some understanding from our police department about some potential unintended consequences there. Additionally, I'd like to hear more from the DOJ, DHS, FBI, St. Louis Police Department. Particularly, Ms. Hess seemed to indicate that there may be an ongoing investigation here, and there may be indictments that are going to drop. I think it would be a disservice to just the overall criminal justice system for this body to be weighing in when on any specifics, when there are indications that there may be criminal litigation happening regarding this exact topic. So I would join my other colleagues in asking Alderman Todd to hold this until we have a chance to hear from additional parties in a hearing. And it seems like everyone's comfortable with doing a hearing as soon as next week. Hopefully we can get all the there's a lot of moving parts here. I'd like to get everyone in the room and hear from everyone, just to make sure that we're not passing out any kind of resolution that's gonna have some unintended consequences on either pending or forthcoming criminal litigation, or with some debates going on at the State House right now. I just want to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to, and we're not poking our nose in anywhere that we shouldn't be right now. And with that, I will yield. Thank you.
And that's what I had stated at the beginning. This will be in Jeff City. This is what they'll use to take local control of our police away from us, saying, that's my concern that I had stated at the very beginning, that they will say they're asking in this resolution, even though again, it has no merit, that we're asking, our police to defy the federal government. And believe me, the middle of the state is a fairly Republican, and like I said, they're debating this up there right now. And something like this could be used to us losing local control, but I stated all that at the beginning, and it's certainly a concern. Alderwoman Hubbard.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Rice.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Alderman Todd, for bringing the resolution and for everyone taking time out of your morning to come and talk to us today. I'm sorry, it's a little dark in here. I am grateful for the clarifying questions offered by the Alderwoman from the 19th, and I agree with some of the concerns raised by the Alderman from the 24th. I absolutely support our constitutional rights to free speech and organization and political movement, but I am concerned specifically with some of the text in the resolution that is both very specific and very broad in a couple of places that, I think it would behoove us to clarify. And there was also, I was noticing, was following along in the resolution that we have in front of us in our Google Drive, the language was different in what was being read versus what is in front of us in a couple of places, specifically in the now therefore be it resolved section. So I want to clarify what exactly it is that that we believe that we're passing here. So if we can make sure that Alderman Todd, that the resolution that you have in front of you is exactly the language that is in the drive for us going forward here. And yeah, I think that we have a long history here in the city of St. Louis of political organization, of political uprising, honestly, of different situations where people have fought back and that people have organized to demand rights, and just being very supportive of that, being supportive of our constitutional rights and the freedom to organize and freedom to have political opinion that may not be the most popular, but maybe working to build towards something, but being very careful of, the timing is unfortunate. You didn't bring this knowing that they were going to be debating local control at this exact moment in Jefferson City. It is very difficult. We know, I think all of us would agree that local control of our police department would go further to protecting our constitutional rights than giving over control to the state. And so we do need to be a little bit strategic here, a little bit political in the way that we're handling this. And so I'm grateful for those who have raised that as a question as well. So I'm grateful for the conversation today. I'm grateful that we're having a continuing conversation on this. I would ask Mr. Chairman that as we move to a hearing, that we have specific rules that we outline to those who are participating in the next meeting, so that it is clear, how the conversation is going to flow. If we're, you did indicate that we normally take public testimony, and then unless folks are specifically asked questions, then that kind of cuts off the public involved. And it's tough when we're on the computer like this. You can easily, unmute yourself and ask a question. But if we're asking, other federal officials to come in, then we really need to be sure that we've got clear expectations of how that's going to go. I'm not saying anybody's speaking out of turn, but just the more we have agreed upon expectations, the better a meeting like that would flow. So thank you so much. I'll yield back.
And I did explain that, and I did allow Ms. Hess to speak, but I did explain that that's pretty unprecedented. And so whether we vote on this today or move to another meeting is going to be up to the sponsor of the bill. And that's always been my how I've done it. So we'll skip over Alderman Todd. It's his bill. We'll come back to him. Alderman Page, you're up next.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I listened very carefully to every word of every testimony today. I sincerely appreciate the passion of the sponsor, the Alderman from the 18th, and the passion of the speakers. I also completely concur with the comments by the Alderman from the 19th. In my opinion, this issue is too important to rush it. we got to make sure that all the information is correct and in the right form, and all the right agencies as well as the public are heard on this matter. So I would sincerely appreciate the sponsors' indulgence in not bringing this resolution to a vote today. Let's move forward with our plan that was put forward to bring additional agencies in to speak on this, to listen to the public a little bit more before we take action. Thank you very much. With that, I yield back.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Laura Keys.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for being here. At this time, I don't have any comments. I yield back.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Todd, you are, it's your call. Do you want to vote on this? I would say, I don't believe you have the votes. I would caution that, but we can if you'd like, or you can postpone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Public Safety Committee, and the speakers and guests and listeners. I think it would be appropriate to postpone it. Did we say until next week so we can get more information? And I will respect the wishes of the committee, because we certainly want to be transparent and get all the information that we need so we can make an informed decision. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And thank you.
So I would go back to the clerk here. Tracy.
Yes.
I don't, oh, there you are right there. You know, it's all these, it's almost like a Where's Waldo thing, you know. So if you could convey that to the clerk, to Terry, to see, I won't set it for next Wednesday. I will do it for whatever day they're available. Because if I say we're going to do this next Wednesday at 1 o'clock and nobody can make it, and that's why we had a meeting yesterday, because Wednesday's meeting was supposed to be with the police chief, but he's in Jeff City, so he couldn't make today. And that's why we had a meeting yesterday. So what I would say is if he could reach out to them, and we are open to I'm open to having a public safety meeting based off of when they can make it.
Okay, I will so noted, and I'll get that to Clerk Kennedy
But
to schedule it when they're available.
And I would try to emphasize that we would appreciate if they would make themselves available sooner than later, because we're coming to the end of the session. So, you know, if they could make it next week, that would be wonderful. But, you know, just kind of convey all that to Terry.
Will do.
Okay. Does anyone else on the committee have anything they want to bring up or say? Or if not, I would accept a motion to adjourn if somebody wants to make one.
You need a motion. You need to excuse.
So move. Oh, you did the excuse?
We have to excuse the aldermen who aren't in attendance.
Yeah, that's fine. I think everybody was here other than, I know that Alderman
Spencer and Tyus.
Okay, let's excuse them. And I know Alderwoman Tyus did call me, and during the meeting, Alderwoman Spencer texted, but so yes, we'll make a motion to excuse them, and
okay,
you know, accept that. And so the next anyway is make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.